Okay, we're live. Um, Hello out there for people that are going to join us, people that are joining us. You're welcome to Life and Relationship Realities with Tolu Alabi. And today, I'm so glad this is a new year. So new things are coming up. And in the bid for us to get better, in the bid for us to minister to people so that you can be blessed, you can receive the grace that God wants you to receive. So this year, one of the things that we're going to be doing in this year that we're soaring higher, one of the things we're going to be doing is question and answer. We want to hear your view. We want to hear you speak. We want to know your questions. We want to be able to meet you at where you are at, by answering the questions in your heart. And so for me today, I have this amazing woman of God. She's a daughter to me. She's precious and I love her so much, she knows. And so today we're going to be co-hosting. So I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Aishat now. I'm going to hand over to her and she's going to take over to host today's program. You're welcome.
Thank you, Pastor Tolu. First of all, I'm very excited to be on this platform. Like she has mentioned, I'm her daughter. This is my mommy, my mentor, my cry for help, everything. She has helped me so much in my life, and I'm very grateful for you, mommy. Thank you for allowing me to be on this platform. Like she mentioned, we are going to be doing question and answer every month on life and relationship realities. So I'm going to read out a few questions that were sent in. And if you have at any point have your own questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. We will be paying attention to that. So I hope you guys enjoy. We are talking age factor today. So Pastor Told, the first question I have for you, this one was sent in. It says, my father forced me to marry a man his age. I have been married to this man for 8 years with 3 children, and I still don't love him. What should I do?
Hmm. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Aishat. By the way, I was gonna commend your husband. I was gonna commend Ronald. Thank you for allowing you, to do what you're doing and what you do. Um, when someone said, I've been married, the truth is, yes, the age difference, because, oh, yeah, this is my father's friend, is my father's age. Maybe you were forced to marry. So that factor is a strong factor first before we start talking about the age, because there was the issue of someone being forced to marry someone. So already, if you're being forced into a relationship, let's create a scenario where this lady had someone. Maybe she was in love with someone that our age, like, oh, we love ourselves, we're going to get married. And then the father comes in to bring this man and say, for whatever reason, maybe his wife died, maybe he was never married, we don't know. So the fact that your heart was broken for something else creates a form of bitterness and pain already. So this girl is not just complaining that I don't love the man that I'm with, but the fact that I was forced to marry that man is the kind of abuse on its own. And abusive people are hurting people. And so this woman is definitely hurting. But it has taken so long. It has taken 8 years. And I want to say to that woman, in as much as this is not easy, but bitterness is not going to make your life move forward. You have to let go. There are things we want in our life. It's just like someone, I wanted to have a daughter, biological daughter, but I didn't have. I ended up with 3 boys, but I'm grateful to God. Some people don't even have children. They're looking forward to that. So you don't hold on to your past. You have to let go. Okay, this has happened. So what is the way forward? Because if your heart is not really, if your heart keep holding on to that pain, there's not going to be space for you to love. hate and love does not dwell in the same place. You either hate someone or you love that person. And so if you begin to see, because the man may even be making so much effort, but the fact that your mind is set on that how dare my dad, if that comes to be, it's going to be difficult, whether it's even age gap or something, whatever circumstance. I have a friend that had arranged marriage, and today they love themselves. So the second part of this question is, you don't love the person, and it's been 8 years. That can happen to anybody, even for people that love themselves. You get married, you love yourself, you're excited, and if you're not careful, other things begin to come into your marriage, especially when kids start coming. You just start looking for that love. You can gradually grow out of love. You can gradually grow out of that bond if you're not intentional and conscious about it. Is a natural thing that begins to happen when other things begin to come into your relationship. And so if she's having that issue where she doesn't love the guy anymore, the truth is that life is about seasons. Seasons come. Seasons when you love yourself and things are going well. Season when things are not okay. Like today now, I'm wearing two sweaters because we're below 0 degrees in Colorado. It's really, really cold. So this is the season why I'm wearing layers. I'm practically wearing like 3 layers right now. This is the season. Summer is going to come. So you can't base your decision of life because of the winter season. So you need to understand that things will come, and then you can let go. And then the other thing is that love is a thing, or is a conscious thing. It's not just about emotion. There are so many things you can do, even as a woman, to help that relationship. If the man is abusive, also that's another situation. But if you don't love, there are conscious things you can do to actually bring love in that marriage. You can say, okay, let's watch a movie together. Every time, okay, let's go into, he's old as your father, but he also wants to feel young. So if you bring things in that relationship that can enhance love and build love, you will make yourself happy even in that situation.
That's a good. So, a follow-up question for that one could be, what are some things that she can do intentionally to help herself to bring that love, to be able to build that relationship?
Okay, like I said, like you can do things. You think about what he likes. What every man likes is different. What my husband likes is a different thing from what someone else's husband likes. So you need to understand what it is that makes your spouse happy. One of my mentors said something that the husband never liked talking. He just never liked. He's a well-known minister of the gospel, but he would just keep to himself, And then she find out that there are certain things that are interesting, and then she will go through the certain things. My first son is not really the person that will really be chatty on a normal day. But when I begin to ask things, like when I call him, he's in college, and I'm like, oh, Zan, what is happening now? The Premier League, is it finished? Who is on the top of the table? The moment I bring in soccer, then he wants to talk. He wants to talk and talk. And from there, we move to the other thing too. Just like my husband too, there are certain things that he loves to talk about. So we start from there and we begin to have the conversation. And the truth is that everybody loves good things. You can say, let's go watch movie together. If movie doesn't work for him, don't get angry. Try another thing. There are a lot of romantic things you can do, but a man of your father's age, maybe you stop looking at him like, oh, this is my father, because he's not your father, he's your spouse. So begin to look at him, bring down the age thing in your mind and begin to look at it. Oh, this is my love, this is my sweet, this is my whatever, you want to call. So go on holidays together, go out together, sit down, those romantic things that you can do. Apart from things you can do in the bedroom, there are physical things. It's part of it.
Yes. Okay, so question 2. I am 6 years older than my husband. He always complains that I'm not submitting to him. What are some things that I can do to help him feel more submitted to?
Okay. So this person is asking you, the person is older than the husband. And the
Mm-hmm.
husband is always complaining that she's not submissive. Okay, one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that brings that is like the things that I talked last week. If you weren't here last week, anybody out there, please go back and watch the tape of last week. The thing is, when a woman is older, the woman is naturally or averagely more matured. Because if you pick a 16-year-old girl and you pick a 16-year-old boy, the 16-year-old girl averagely is more mature, not in every situation, but in an average situation. And I'll tell why. The 16-year-old girl is started her menstruation. Her parents have taught her how to take care of herself, how to be careful, how to be that. Trainings have been given to her. When she's a child, especially if she's brought up in Africa, even anywhere, the parent are consciously like she's in the kitchen, or do this like this, do that. The place of responsibility, she's already come into the place of responsibility that the guy at 16 may not really have gone into. So that brings maturity on its own. So if you're marrying your mate or you're marrying a girl that is older, then you should have thought about the complex thing before you do that. To know that some people, because the girl is older, she wants to sometimes, do things and bring herself so low that it gets to a point she's not able to sustain that any longer, and it becomes a problem. So the guy should realize that, to say that I shouldn't feel intimidated if she knows certain things that I don't know. I shouldn't feel intimidated if she's always bringing better answers when we have situation. I shouldn't feel intimidated when she talks more with wisdom. So you don't bring that person down because you're feeling intimidated and so you are not submissive. Submission, Christian submission, is not for someone to subject under you and then you are controlling and ruling the person. That's not leadership. As a Christian is a place of influence. Jesus said, whoever wants to be a leader, let that person be the servant of all. So that's what God is called husband to serve their wives, serve their children. And that's why I say love. Love brings you down. Not in complex, not in anything. Love brings you down. You are the one leading, but you bring yourself down to serve others, like Jesus washed the feet of others. But the thing is, when you now serve others, the wife too should understand, and the wife shouldn't start looking down on her husband in whatever circumstance. So you don't look down on him because maybe you're able to provide more wisdom and so on. You don't look down on him. Where he is as the husband is God that have placed him there. The Bible says the husband is the head of the family. I mean, I've talked about it. If the husband is a pilot and is always crashing the plane, and you're sitting there as co-pilot and say, I'm submissive, and he's driving you to trash, he's driving you to chaos all the time. There are times that wisdom should speak, with respect. But the truth is that respecting one another matters. A woman should learn to honor her husband. The husband too should learn to love and respect the wife.
Hmm. Wow, words of wisdom. The
You.
next question: is there a time frame on which one goes from dating to marriage? Like, what is the how many years, how many months? Does age play a factor? Things like that.
Okay, I'm gonna answer that, and I'm gonna throw that to you too to answer that.
Okay.
So for me, yeah, for me, when we were growing up, things were quite different. And we grew up from a strict Christian family. So I remember the people that have my sister is there and Tibuki is there, and I remember she was dating someone. My grandmother would not usually allow any man come into the house. But when she was dating, my grandmother, I would say maybe that was partiality. My sister is watching. She maybe because actually the person she was dating is a very, very good person. And so my grandmother saw that. And my grandmother didn't stop that person from coming into the house. Unlike some of our other sisters that they will have to sneak out to go see the guy, and some of us that are little, we know all the because we help them with the dues, and at the end of the day, they give you something for keeping secret, for helping to escape, or things like that. But Auntie Buki's own was different. It will come in. And I remember when I started dating my first relationship too. Because our boyfriend was able to come into the house, my grandmother said, I decided to follow that kind of thing, to say that the guy could come in. And I remember the first time he came, he greeted my grandmother, he went, he respected himself and went outside, sat outside, and we both sat outside where everybody could see us and we were talking and everything. And later on, my grandmother was like, oh, who is that person? And I said, oh, he's a friend, he's my friend. And another time again, maybe because he saw my grandmother allowed him, he came back again. And I think that was when my grandmother had finished high school. That was when my grandmother started like, what is that? And I told my grandmother something. I said, if he comes here, you can see us. Is a playing ground is a better thing. I said, but if I go to him, because you know that I can sneak to go out to meet him. If I go out to meet him, you are not going to be there. Anything can happen at that point. So it's better you see both of us. And I think she understood that, you know. But so we started dating. Those days, people don't really like think much of dating. They hide things, and then when they're serious, they bring the person to their parent, But my grandmother, so that relationship didn't go so far. Well, it was almost 5 years, but there were a lot of things that also happened there. And that's one thing that I also want to say to people. The relationship shouldn't take you 5 years. For me, it took that 5 years because, like I said, I just finished high school. So I still needed to go to college and so on. So that was a different situation. But let's assume that the two people are ready and mature to get married. How are you going to wait 5 years for a relationship? There are always exceptional cases. But the truth is, I feel that by 6 months for a serious person, you know what you want to do. A man knows what he wants to do. If he wants to marry this guy or he doesn't want to marry this guy. Like when Rona, for you, I'm sure I want to talk about it. The ones you can talk about. The issue is both of you didn't start playing around. He knew what he wants to do. I trust Ronald. He knows what he wants to do. He's going for what he wants to go for. And he's a young man, even though, he's handsome, he's great, he's God-fearing. He's a wonderful person. But he knew what he wanted to do. And he follows through. So you can use the 6 months. Try to check the person. Who is this person? If you want to pray, start praying. If you want to check her out, start checking her out. Go for day, talk frequently, and make sure you see her in all season, because when a woman is all made up and then the husband doesn't know, and it's on wedding night, it's seen and say, who is this person? So see her on makeup, see her without makeup, see everything. I think by 6 months, someone should know. Even if you're not going to marry, definitely you don't marry at 6 months. I have a friend, their marriage they were on the phone. They were talking back and forth on the phone. They were introduced. They were not in the same place. Then there was no mobile phone. They could not even do face chat or whatever. But they saw themselves and they proposed on the phone. My friend accepted to marry him on the phone, and they decided to meet. Less than 1 month after meeting, they got married. Their marriage has been 30-something years now, and they're happy together. So I throw it over to you. What will you advise young people today?
For me, like Pastor mentioned, my wonderful husband. We have been married for a little bit over a month now. And it took us 2 years before we got married, but his intention was straight from the beginning. Within the first few months of us being together, he let me know what his intention was. There were other circumstances that held us to wait on God's time with prayer and trusting God. We were able to be able to get to this point. I would say prayer is very important. I realized that to pray and be convicted in your heart and know that this is the person. If this is the person, there's no such thing as too young. I'm only 24, so there's no such thing as too young. There's no such thing as too soon. If you know that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and the man is intentional, he knows what he wants, he's proving to you that this is what he wants, then by all means, if God says yes, who can say no? So for me, it took us a little bit of time, but his intention was from the beginning. He had already told me what his intention was, and I went to go and pray about it. God had showed me, and I was okay with it as well. So, like Pastor Tolu said, by 6 months, if you are doing 5 years courtship, at that point, maybe it's a little too lengthy, but 6 months with a man who knows what he wants, that's a good time. So yes,
You
that was my
you know
own.
mhm. You know something, Aisha. The thing is, a lot of people set themselves up for hurt and pain. You know, when
Mm,
you're going into a relationship, you're being here 1 year, 2 years, and the guy is not saying anything. There's no, everything should have a vision, everything should have where is this going? You know, there's
mm,
nothing wrong. And a girl is feeling, oh, if I ask him, he's gonna feel I'm rushing it. I'm not rushing you, I'm not telling you marry me today.
mhm,
What is this relationship? Because I was in a relationship and the guy would say, oh, any man that marry, oh, the man that is married to you is the luckiest man. Oh, the this thing. And I was taking that for proposal
mm.
instead of clarifying things. You know, oh, I wish I'm gonna be lucky. I'm gonna be a lucky man to marry you. It's not the same as do you want to marry me or I want to marry you. And I assume in the relationship, and especially when the man is enjoy certain things that he's not supposed to enjoy,
Mm,
before marriage, and then he's enjoying everything. He's having the honey, he's having the moon, he's enjoying
mhm,
everything, and he's not paying for anything. So why not if not? And
mhm,
then later on, I'll say, oh, he broke my heart. Oh, we were going to get married. Did he promise you marriage?
mm,
That's when you begin to hear story. We're not exactly, but like he insinuated in several. Oh my goodness, that is not. If a man love a woman and wants to spend the rest of his life, he will say, "Oh yeah, baby, I know I'm not there yet. We're gonna take it slow. We're gonna take it, but I'm trusting that this relationship is gonna last forever." That's not still saying engage, but at least is saying things and
yes, action is important as well. That was one thing that it was not. My husband did not only tell me, but he used his actions and showed me that this is what he wants to do. That's also very important. Don't wait 2 years and there's no action. Like my son said, don't give him all the milk and honey without proposal. Yeah. So the next question um, is how many years difference between a man and a woman is too much of a difference? For example, is 8 years too much, 10 years too much, 12 years too much? And what are some of the issues that can occur if the age gap difference is too big?
Okay, we have some people here. Let me quickly, Mrs. Akolade said, may the Lord continue to bless and guide your marriage in Jesus' name. My sister said, don't do wife stuff as a girlfriend. If
Yeah.
you want him to be his wife, he will wait for the right time. Yes.
Mm,
Okay, so how many years is too much? I dated a man 18 years older. Let me
mm,
rephrase that. I was engaged to a man that is 18 years older. But looking back today, it looks like, oh, that was almost 2 decades. But the truth is, I didn't even feel the age gap.
mm,
Maybe also because a lot of people, I have friends that are 70 something years old. Most of the time, my friends are usually older than me. and they're like, oh, you're so matured, you're so experienced, and so on, you know. But when we met, there was a lot of maturity in the relationship. I mean, we were both mature. Nobody was going to be doing baby stuff or all of those things. We were both matured.
Mm-hmm.
And we went into the relationship. We had good laugh. We talked together. We were like friends. We were like mates. I didn't even see the age gap. That was in England. And he took care of himself so much that even when you see him, you don't think of that age. You don't think of that age. So that was a different situation. It was an immigration solicitor, and we'll talk. Well, I didn't go to him for immigration stuff, in case some people are wondering. you know I had my papers. But the thing is, we were able to relate together as friends. So if you can relate together as friends, then it's okay. My sister said age is just a number. What matters most is how you feel about your partner and how you are being treated during the courtship time. Yes, even though age is sometimes not just a number, because it comes with experience, it comes with a whole lot of things sometimes, and that factor have to be put in place, because the thing is that I would say the guy should not be so much younger. If that happens, then there's gonna be a lot. Okay, 5 years, you are still around the age gap in a way. But if the woman is like 10 years younger than the man, then that's a lot. I'm not saying it cannot work. I've seen situations like that. We see it even on social media. A woman marrying a man that is almost 20 years younger. That's not, sometimes they have other reasons why they do the things they do. And sometimes those relationships don't last. But it's a lot of stress and hassles when the guy is a lot younger. You may not see it in courtship, but when marriage comes, you begin to see the difference. Every woman, whether consciously or unconsciously, every woman wants her husband to lead. You want a man that know what he's doing and can carry you along and can take you along and can be patient with you and can love you and can endure with you. When the man is younger, most times he looks out for himself more. It's a natural thing that comes in, especially when he's much, much younger. So when he's much, much younger, you need to properly go for counseling and get things out. But let's say 1 year, 2 years to 5 years, you can work together, your friends, as long as that woman can respect the man. Because you can't say, oh, because he's younger than me, then I'm going to talk to him. No, you still have to respect him as the head of the family and as the man that you can submit to. If you can't submit to him, even if he's 100 years older than you, or you are older than him with 100 years, then there's no point. So can I submit to him? Do I respect him that much that I can see him, like I can still look up to him in a way and respect him?
Wow. Okay. Next question. I am 28 years old, and the man I want to marry is 24. My parents do not agree with the marriage because of the age difference. What should I do?
She's 28. The guy is 24.
4.
Well, for me, it's not see, okay, so this issue now is a two thing. It's two issues in one. The age difference is one. The second issue is the father, the parent of the girl is not agreeing. Let me quickly read comment. Folake said, friendship and communication is a commitment to a great marriage. Yes. Yeah, communication, not just speaking to one another, but understanding what the person is saying and you're giving a positive feedback. Then Brother Isaac Joshua from Just, thank you. So if this is 4 years gap, can I do that for me, the maturity of the man. If the man is matured, I said last week, I wanted to marry a man that is like 5 years older than me, 10 years older than me, because I was looking for my father. I didn't know that. I wanted a man because I didn't know that I was looking for my father in a man that I was going to marry. I wanted the person that would be there. I wanted to be cozy like a little girl, the guy pamper me because the way my father would have pampered me. So that was a wrong thing until I discovered God as my father and so on. But this situation, 4 years, if I see the man matured, for me, maturity means is key. I didn't, those are major issues for me. So it depends on what your major issues are, what your major thing are. What is it that you look for in a man? Some people, they want a man that is financially okay. That's okay. You look for a man that is tall, a man that is short, a man that is well endowed, a man that is slim. All kind of things. Apart from the fact that, yeah, you look for a God-fearing man, you still, I wanted a good-looking man. God-fearing was my number one thing, not because I'm a pastor, but because I believe that if a man fears God, he would treat me well in the fear of God. So I want to say to people that someone can go to church, that does not mean they are God-fearing. So you need to check that very well if that is your thing. Then the second thing is this man at 24 matured? You are still in your 20s. It would have been better though if, let's say, one is 48 and one is 44. Both of you have matured greatly at that point. 28 and 24, a man that is 24 is matured depending on the circumstances that surround him. Because somebody can be 70 years old and still not be matured. So the thing is that if I see that maturity in him, that maturity will help me to be able to submit myself under him as a man. Like I said last week, I will say again, my husband is not older than me. I don't respect my husband because of his age. I respect him because of his position. My husband is the head of the family. That's what I respect. And he's the one, so I respect him based on that. Not just about age. When you go, like I said last week, you're walking, you go to your supervisor, you don't go meet your supervisor and say, oh, what do you even think you are? Do you know you're so junior to me? Oh, that's probably the last day you see the door of that company. You understand? You don't respect your supervisor because you respect him or her because of their position. And so if I know that I can really respect a man at that, and I'm not looking at, because my age, but because that we love ourselves, we understand ourselves, we're willing to commit into this marriage, we know how to honor one another, we know how to respect one another, we know what God has said in the institution of marriage, and we're committed to do our different part to make that marriage work. For me, it won't make much difference. So the parents now, sometimes it's with time when parents are saying no. Brother Isaac Joshua is here. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this. The wife is my very good friend, and she's a co-laborer in the ministry as well. They married, it took them several years. Maybe one day they are going to come talk about their issue on this program to help other people. It took them several years to get married. There were also some things coming. There were tribal differences that were coming concerning their relationship. Even when they were agreed to get married, I remember, Brother Isaac, I'm going to say this. I know you wouldn't mind. I remember when they were going to get married and the two families were going to meet. And one of the things is that in the wife's place, when the woman died, they're going to take her back to her father's house to go bury. In the husband's place, you bury, once you are married, both your life and death, you are married to that family. And when the wife died, they bury her in her husband's place. And so I think the husband's family decide to ask that question. And that raised another dust. Like we're still just talking about this. Now you're bringing about death issues. So that's how much it can be with family, with travel, with all kind of situation with families. So one day they're going to come and tell their story, So, but one of the things that I need to say is that if God, the Bible says, whatsoever God do it shall be forever. Yeah, and Isaac, thank you. He said it's okay. One of the things is that when something is of God, it can take a long time, eventually come. So for that person, patience is the key. As the guy gradually proves himself for the family, they begin to see that the guy can actually take. I mean, my husband and I, we have the age difference. I'm older with 10 months, but that doesn't come up. The respect is not about age. I can't talk to him anyhow. No, because God is the one that placed him there. So when your family are talking, I remember when I was going to marry my husband too, my mom of blessed memory, Major A.I.Y. Shilake, she was a very, very tough woman, very loving, but very, very tough. And she was very careful about what happened to our girls, where they're marrying to and so on. So I told my husband, and he said, when we had decided that we're going to get married, and he said, oh, we have to pray. And we did 3 days of prayer and fasting, And when we went, it was the moment my husband came in, oh, where are you from? You are Offa. Oh, come and sit on my lap. I mean, like, she just took, some people, it may take 30 days of fasting. Some people may even take 3 years. Some people, it may take more than that. Be patient so that your family, your parent can bless your marriage. Try to receive counsel and mentoring and so on like that, that guides you. But be patient. They will come around us.
Okay. Next question was, I was laid off recently from my job, and my wife is the primary source of income. Recently, I have noticed that sometimes in the way she talks to me, it comes off as insulting. She's also 3 years older than me, and I feel like that is also the problem. What should I do?
Money, in my life, I used to look down on money factor. And I remember when I was going to get married, I had 4 proposals that week, the week my husband proposed to me. And he almost even stepped on his tire on the leg of one of the guy coming. And like, oh, I didn't see him. I said, no, you saw him. So, but the thing is, one of the people that wanted to marry me, the person was financially okay, like way more than my husband. Does not even live in Nigeria at that point. And I remember somebody was telling me, Mr. Tolu, maybe marry this person. He's going to help with the ministry and so on like that. And I had to decide to marry. My husband had a job, but he didn't have much. I mean, even there was a company house, but almost everything basically in that house was my mother-in-law's thing. The chair in the living room, the fridge, the pot, the plate, the everything. And so I was to make a decision. But then I look at my husband and I said, this man knows the word of God. Minister of the gospel, I need a man that understands and to be able to support me in the marriage. That was my thought at that particular time. So for me, it wasn't money. I was even looking for a man that I could build with. So it was good for me to get into that situation. And so there are people that can get into that, and that made me to make a lot of sacrifices. My marriage was the most simplest marriage. We could not even afford a big hall. We could not afford much decoration. My wedding cake, when I saw it, when I got into the hall, I felt like crying because they just made it like the Garden of Eden. Like, I'm like, what is this? Our card was a one color print, just blue and white. And so it was simple, and I was like, oh, I was going to help my husband to be successful. So there are women that will do that. There are men that will do that for the woman, because it can be both sides. It can be both sides. But so the issue is, when the man is no longer working, there can be a lot of factor that comes in that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So for one thing, I would say to the woman, the fact that you are privileged to be in that situation, number one, should not be the reason why you think you're higher. I always say, even if you have money more than your husband, he's still the head of that family. And you still have to accord him that respect as the head of the family, irrespective. It's not about money. It's not about anything. We live in a world that is so materialistic, and people feel that money should define everything. No. The only thing, I'm going to give example of my senior sister also that got married. They got married. The husband was doing well. They got married, and then things didn't work for him again. I mean, almost immediately. My husband's sister came. My sister's husband came one day, because even in my marriage, there was a time that we had a marital financial crisis in my marriage. And I remember my brother-in-law said something. He said, and he told us about that experience. He said, but I didn't leave everything to my wife. The Bible said a man that cannot provide for his family is worse than an infidel. That's what the Bible himself said. That's what God himself said. But the thing is that provision is not only in monetary terms. A man can provide other things even when there is no money. Just like even some women, you find a woman is not working, is a man that is working. I mean, the man should come to meet a clean house. There should be things that you do at home to contribute to the home. So you are not contributing financially. I want to believe that's not going to be for a long time. Because I saw someone that was a bank manager. He lost his job, and he went to the husband of my friend, and he said, please, anything I can do, even if I have to clean the floor, I will do that to keep my family. And I was like, whoa, this is a man willing to do anything to care for his family. The truth is, and my brother-in-law said something. He said, when my wife will go and come back, when she's coming back, we have house help. I'm already taking his food ready. He said, sometimes I would take her clothes. She will come back from work from morning to night. And I said, okay, come, let me rub your leg for you. Are you okay? And he was doing something. You cannot say you have financial crisis, you are depressed, but they see you sitting down on television from morning till night. You are watching all episodes of Indian movie, of all of those things without contributing. And then you're still expecting that the woman that is contributing, that has gone to work, she's the one that comes back and immediately cooking things. Please, even if he's a woman, and the man is the one laboring and everything, and you have all the time, and you still want him to be the one to come do things. See, this is all about character. It's all about attitude. It's as simple as that. Because sometimes when a man behaves like that and the woman is not happy, then everybody start looking at it that, oh, this woman, oh, she's being proud, and nobody knows the underlying issues. But I also want to say a word to women. Please, when you go through such financial crisis, your character should be the best. The truth, one thing, Aisha, who you are will reflect in all circumstances. It's like toothpaste. No matter the pressure that you put on the toothpaste, if it's blue toothpaste that is inside, red will never come out. So our best behavior will come out. Our behavior will come out more when there is pressure. So I want to say to such man, please contribute something. When people see that you contribute something, I mean, everybody will even be feeling, because I've seen situations where a man is not contributing and then he comes around and say, oh, my wife, because she's the one, she's there. Or some women will like, oh, my husband, because she is the one providing. Character is the issue. And I want to say to that man, if that woman is behaving like that, you just keep your prayers to God. God knows how to answer everybody's prayer. God is going to turn that situation around. But I want to say to that woman, please be careful. If you have the privilege of doing something today, don't let pride enter into your heart, because you don't even know what tomorrow holds.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That was great. Those are the questions that I have so far. Is there any questions in the chat? Very, very powerful, very inspirational. Is there anything that you'd want to say to the young people that are there that are not married yet, that want to get married, that are trusting God for marriage? What are some words of encouragement? What are some things that you can say to them that may help them through this time?
Okay. I'm going to say something and you're going to say something to the young people too.
Okay.
So what I want to say to young people is, let God prepare you. A lot of people get into relationship and marriage without proper preparation. You need to be prepared spiritually. You need to be prepared. My sister said, just want to tell Aisha, you look great. Marriage is good.
Thank you.
You need to be prepared spiritually. You need to be prepared physically. You need to be prepared financially. You need to be prepared in every way. One of the things that people that live with me, they can't say that, oh, I see pastor is always shouting on daddy. I see that. No, I tell myself I will not. Yes, I even went overboard in my patience and things like that. But the truth is, be patient. Marriage is a lot of patience because it comes in different seasons. The season today is different. Stop nodding your head like you've been married for ages, so you know what we're talking about. I'm talking
Only
to you.
1 month and I can relate.
So patience is the thing. You need to be patient. I learned something before I got married. It's not everything that you respond to. It's not every battle that you fight. You can tell yourself, I've shared it several times when I got married for a very long time. Before I talk to my husband on big issues, sometimes I'm just praying for God to speak through me, so that it does understand what I'm about to say. Sometimes I'll go into the mirror, I'll be talking, I'll vent my anger to like I'm talking to him before I see him. So that when I see him, I don't come up with that anger, oh, you do this, you do that. That's why marriage is a lot of patience. And I want to say something to ladies. Don't be a lady that nag, that shout, that it doesn't, no, there's no need for that. If you have said something 2 times, 3 times, and the person is still continuing, maybe you need to begin to pray about that situation. Because the more you're nagging on it, the more it becomes impossible for the person to change. And then understanding one another matters a lot. I'm not saying if somebody is abusive, whether the man is abusive or the woman is abusive, and then you say, I'm understanding. At that point, please be careful for your life. But ordinarily, understand why your husband is like this. Understand why your wife is like this. Some things are even in the family. There's family trait that you need to be patient and allow the person gradually change when it's not something that is destructive. So, but be patient. Both the man, the woman, be patient, understand one another, give yourself time to understand one another. And when that relation, and I always say, have a mentor. It's good for every relationship to have a mentor, because that is going to help you calm down a lot, and that experience and that spirit is going to help you build your marriage. So over to you. Over to you.
um Last year, at the beginning of the year, God gave me the word prepare. I didn't understand what he was saying, but he just gave me the word prepare. And everything that came last year made me understand what God was preparing me for. Um, I have not been married for long, so I don't have much experience. But I've noticed that with patience, it's very important. My husband is very patient with me. And it amazes me how patient he is because it helps us to get through certain things. It helps us to communicate better. It helps us to be able to know each other better. But I would say preparation, like Pastor Tolu said, is very important. Preparing yourself, knowing who you are. You're still going to learn things, but it's important to know what you want, know what God wants for you. And I would say just be intentional. If you know that it's marriage that you're going for, surround yourself around good marriages. Surround yourself around people who can motivate you. A mentor is very important. I did mention Pastor is my mentor. I will call her about things. She just say, Aisha, will you calm down? And she will help me get through some of these things. So a mentor is very, very important. Being able to surround yourself around good marriages, good people, that is very important. Patience is a good thing as well too. I waited 2 years. Wasn't as long as I thought it would be, but God knows best. But yeah, that's what I would say: patience, a mentor, and preparation.
Okay. So I want to say to viewers there that we have a newsletter coming in for Tolu Alabi Ministries. We're having a project that we're doing. If you want to join our newsletter, we're going to put it after this program. You're going to be able to see it on the website. But on Wednesday, we're going to be praying for Nigeria on Wednesday. This Wednesday, like February 1st, we're going to pray for Nigeria. On this program is going to be it's going to be 1 hour. If you want to join us, whether you are in Nigeria or you love someone in Nigeria, please join in this prayer. I just want us to pray concerning the forthcoming election for the light. God led that in my heart the 1st of January for us to pray for Nigeria. And we're going to pray. So if you want to join us, you can join us. There are more questions. Aisha is she's the one in charge of our social media in the ministry. So she posts things on Instagram and so on. I want to say thank you so much, baby. Thank you. I love you to the moon. And she's an amazing woman. I can't call you girl now. You used to be my baby girl, but let's leave that for the person that should call you the baby girl. And so yeah, but baby girl for life anyway. And so so you may want to reach out if you have questions. We're going to start another series. Next week, we're going to be talking on long relationship, the effect of long relationship, how to keep such relationship going when it's long, and not just long relationship when there is distance between you. You can be in the same city and you have that gap between you. How do you close up and still love one another and still have a fruitful relationship? So at the end of the month, Aisha is going to come back. We're going to be having question and answer every month. So next month, we're going to do this again. We want to appreciate you so much for joining. Don't forget on Wednesday, February 4th, join us. Do our newsletter. She's in charge of newsletter also. Aisha, do you want to say something?
Yes, so our newsletter will go out every month, once a month. Right after this, the link to subscribe will be released. Please subscribe. It's something you don't want to miss. Tolu Alabi Ministries is doing great works across the world. We are here to heal and help those who are hurting. So please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you have any questions, feel free to email or to reach out on Instagram. Like she said, I'm in charge, and we will be able to answer your questions and be able to help where we need to. So please subscribe. The link will be out after this live.
Thank you. Someone said, but Isaac said, the challenge with relationship is that many do expect the other to be perfect, while they in themselves are not working on themselves. Once you keep working on yourself, then you can be patient with others. That's very good. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yes. Okay, Aishat, your mom says she knows Aisha than I do as the mom. May the Lord continue to lift you up in Jesus' name. Thank you. Priska Isaac said, great, thank you. And King said, lead sister, put me in the news. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.